So it's been almost 3 months since I've been trying out the ZERA Grow, which is a smart hair growth device. And I don't know whether you have noticed there has been a bit of a change on my top of my head overall. But I have to say the first video that I recorded, which was released recently, I know there might be some confusion here, but that was recorded back in the 14th of October. And today is almost 3 months, as you can tell. And there were a few conditions I have to make sure it's kept from the previous video to the current one, which is to have a similar growth of a hair, so it's very balanced, and also the similar time of recording as well. So this is after work kind of time, if you see what I mean. And I just wanted to try out few things as a proof that it actually works. And the first thing would be using the 1000 times zoom in microscope Wi-Fi device, which we're going to get into later on. But before we get into this, I think the overall experience was quite pleasant. It doesn't really bother me with my daily routine. I could get on with other works, other things, or relaxing time mostly, and just place it on my head like a headphone. I just love the design. It's very practical indeed, where you can actually show off to others to pretend this is actually a very cool laser projecting sort of headphone, but it's not, if you see what I mean. I never actually tried it so far, maybe on the Halloween time. But overall, the way how it works again is that you can try your forehead for 5 minutes, and then slightly on the top, like slightly angle forward 5 minutes, middle 5 minutes, slightly back 5 minutes, and then back for 5 minutes. So it's actually for the session of 25 minutes of a routine that you can try on. So immediately it will turn itself off after 25 minutes, and each 5 minutes you'll get a beep. So you just need to make sure when you hear it, you just move it, nudge it slightly, and so on. Now, one of the things I want to actually warn you is that if you actually have a slightly long hair on the sideways, it might, through the process of moving this, it could pull your hair, one or two of them, because it get caught by the wheel action here. But it does make a lot of sense for a cost-saving point of view, because I presume this laser portraying part might be expensive, and they wanted to reduce the price. And also the practicality of it is that you don't necessarily need to do the whole thing. You can actually concentrate on a certain part. So this needs to be done on 3 times a week at least. There were days where I probably did it on a row, but if there was one day I didn't do it, the rule was let's do it today. But if I realize I did it yesterday, then don't do it today, that sort of thing. Hence, I am here. So I can see the immediate effect, which is that there's about 10 to 15, 20% of improvement of strength on my hair. Obviously, I'm not still yet fully grown and so on. That's what I can see for myself in the mirror. Now, I have actually been graciously born with a red dot on my forehead, which is like a point of a measurement to see whether I'm losing hair or not. Gladly, it's still there. And I just realized there were 2 or 3 very thin hairs started to grow. And I'm thinking, what would be the cause of this? It must be because there's no other thing other than I actually been trying few hair strengthening shampoo. Is very common one, but I think it's mainly because of this ZERA Grow. Anyhow, that's the overall thoughts and the impression I have for the 3 months of review or experience. So let's get on with the actual microscope zoom in test, shall we? So I recall on my previous video, I actually focused on the top left and right of my forehead, the beginning stage of it, and my crown of the head as well. So I'm going to do the same test on it. So here it goes. Right, so we're just about to enter to the front of my forehead on the right hand side, and I actually memorized how it looked on my previous recording, and what I can see is that all these thin hair are started to grow. That's amazing, actually. I don't know whether you can see the difference as well. So they're the thick original hairs. I'm not sure whether they have been dense up, but what's really assuring is that those really thin, tiny, just about to grow hairs have been slightly strengthened, so there's more dense in there. But what's quite unfortunate is that I just can't see that on my human eye level point of view. So there's definitely a proof. Again, if we go actually further onto the top, yeah, so that's where I actually last time checked, isn't it? So let's go on the left hand side as well. So again, these tiny thin hairs that are not detectable on the human eyes, you can see from 1,000 sort of zoom in point of view, they are starting to gain strength. Quite promising. They're still weak, but this is very encouraging indeed. So I don't know whether these ones are those sort of mid strengthening ones. So yeah, they're clearly an scientific evidence that in my point of view, with no lying, with honesty, there is effect taking place. Now let's go to my crown. I presume it's going to be the same because there was no so like, oh yeah, there's one or two maybe that might be a sign of a growth here and there, but I think there's not really much of a chance of those tiny you know, youth hair to grow here. They're all thick, but it's not as dense. That's all I want to say. Oh, actually I seen one. Well, there you go. That might be a promising one, but comparing to my forehead, there are very little of those to be discovered. Oh, okay, here are some of them, but again, wow, we got another one here, so that's good. So on the middle, well, I can't really be accurate on this one and fair because, as you can see, you know, it's just that. Oh, here we go. I think that's, yeah, so there are a few, same as the crown, where we might be seeing something growing there. But it's mainly my forehead and the crown that has been the cause of my worries of a sign of getting bald. So we are definitely seeing a sign, a promising sign of the forehead so far. So that's really good indeed. Right, so this was recorded about 3 months ago. As you can see, I was wearing different smart glasses. It was the black color. I'm wearing white at the moment. And this is different to the yesterday recorded one, but you can see that the hair length is pretty much, I would say, similar in some way. So I think that's being fair. So to start with, 3 months ago, you can certainly see a central top of my head being a bit bald, and the crown certainly is the core of the build-up of this whole thing. While as if we go to yesterday, you go to the top of my head, it seems to be a bit more volume, and the crown seems to be, is it slightly filled up? Let's actually double check again. Since this was recorded in a similar time, I can recall as well, it was about 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah, so that was the crown. So let's go to yesterday as well. Okay, well that could be slightly filled in, but I think it's depend on how you want to interpret it. But certainly when I look at the top of my head, it seems to be a bit more of a volume there. So that's very encouraging indeed. But definitely not like fully cured, but slight improvement. I guess it definitely is helping scientifically by using the 1,000 times magnification on my forehead. But as I predicted 3 months ago, because I couldn't see any of those pulps, should we say, starting hairs on my crown, I didn't really notice that much of a change. But I did actually find few of them as I was scanning through today, so maybe there might be a difference. But I think this overall strengthened the hair root as well, so your hair overall will feel strengthened as well, which will be pretty cool. But again, if I could imagine that this could apply differently to other people, I believe I'm quite fortunate that I was in that moment where I'm starting to really see a difference of losing hair or weakness of growing hair. So I just wanted to make a bit of a reinforcement sort of effect, and I think there was about 10 to probably 15-20% of an improvement there. I can imagine that someone is completely bald will not see suddenly all the hair grows back. but there could be a slight improvement there. But who knows, after a year of use, I might actually say it differently. But at this stage, there are signs of improvement that are encouraging. As to what they say, 3 months later, you're going to see effect. Those effects seems to be already being causing to me. I was initially concerned that this laser hole thing might started to make my hair lose a lot of hair, but I thought I was losing a bit initially. I wasn't sure. Some people, when I looked at other channels, saying that there's a period that you actually feel like you're losing a lot of hair in the beginning, and it's probably because your head is trying to grow new hairs and so on. Maybe I gone through that process. I didn't record it scientifically, but what I have noticed is that I feel like I was losing slightly less hair on my end, which is a personal sort of experience that I haven't actually proved to you today. But I hope this video overall sort of encouraged you to get one of these, but please don't believe that this is going to happen to every single one of you. Some people might get the same result, some people might get better result, some people might not get a result at all, depending on your hair conditioning and so on. But if you have a similar situation as I do, I guess you're going to get the same result, or maybe better or slightly less, and so on. So overall, thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll come back to you again in a later time. All the best. Bye bye.